Hey, everybody, and good morning. It is Tuesday, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo 2020, and I'm here today to kind of give you an intro of this week's edition of Power EdTech Weekly. So, to get started here, I've got a few news briefs that I included here that I want to go over with you. The first one is a little bit dated because Earth Day was April 22nd, but that's okay. We're kind of living in a time warp right now anyway. And so I wanted to share this with you. NASA put out a 50th anniversary toolkit that's got a whole bunch of fun information here and some activities and stuff to do with the kids. So if you're looking for something to do science related, then I would encourage you to check that out. The next thing that I have underneath the news briefs is information about a new online whiteboard service that kind of came out recently. It's called whiteboard.fi. And what it does is it is an online whiteboard that you can mark up and that you can have the kids mark up and stuff. But the nice thing about it is that it creates classes so that you can easily create a template whiteboard and then send it out to the kids to mark up. So it's good for like math practice or for diagramming or things like that. And it links up. It syncs up with Google Classroom nicely too. So I would encourage you to check that out. The next thing I have underneath news briefs is some digital lessons for teachers that Google has put out for developing applied digital skills. And what this does is it kind of gives the students activities to do to kind of practice digital skills. So I know I've gotten a number of comments about how kids don't know how to turn in assignments or collaborate on Google Docs or things like that. And I've put out some tutorials to kind of help with that. But this can also kind of be used to supplement that. There's actually curriculum materials related to what you're teaching in class that you can kind of practice these things, practice doing these digital skills with the kids. And there's just 3 examples here, but there's a bunch of other stuff too. Write an if-then adventure story, create a resume, create a budget in Google Sheets, all good things that the kids need to be able to know how to do in the long term. And this is kind of a central place for you to access some tips to be able to teach that with the kids. So I thought that was good. And then the next thing that I have, I'm not sure if this is underneath news briefs. Yes, voice commenting in Google Docs. I got a question from a teacher about typing in, using voice comments in Google Docs. And I have talked about an app called Kaizena, which allows you to embed audio comments into the Google Doc, but it's just audio. This particular extension transfers the audio into text, so it's speech to text, and it works out really nicely. And not only does it do speech to text, but it also puts in a link so that the kids can hear your voice too. So if you wanted to just leave a written text, you can do that plus your voice as well, which is kind of nice because it kind of makes it a little bit more personal. All right, so that's justmote.me. And then the next things that I have in the newsletter is under my P-Day in your PJs section. Here I've gotten a few questions about kids being able to edit PDFs. PDFs are not really easily editable, but it definitely provides you with a nice way to keep your formatting nicely and to kind of serve as a template for kids. You can create PDFs that are graphic organizers or math worksheets or grammar diagrams, things like that. So there's all sorts of uses for PDFs, but like I said, they're not easily editable by the kids. That's where this app Cami comes into play. And what I did is I linked to my blog article on working with PDFs in the classroom that kind of shows you how to get started with Cami. It's a little bit of a process to get set up at first, but once it's set up and it's kind of embedded into your Google Drive, it's super easy to use. And I think you'll find a lot of success with the kids. If you notice that students are having a hard time getting it set up on their end, just let me know, and I'm happy to kind of work with any individual student or small groups of students to kind of help them get going with that. But Cami is a great tool. It's been around for a while, and it's a great tool for kids to be able to mark up PDFs. And then the next thing that I have here is Jamboard. Jamboard is another online whiteboard. It's actually an online whiteboard that Google has put out. It's very simple, very easy to use, and I've got a tutorial on how to get started with that here with Jamboard. It's another kind of some more newsletter here that kind of walks you through the process and gives you some ideas as to how you can use that with your kids. And then the next thing that I have there is Ditch That Textbook. Matt Miller, who's one of the authors of Ditch That Textbook, is a kind of a series of books that you might be familiar with, has a number of home learning resources. He created a website that has a ton of resources on there to get you going with some ideas, how to use different available tools and whatnot. So tons of information on that website. So definitely check that out if you're looking for more ideas or for some help with some tools that you're already using. And then this is another link to another blog post that I have wondering which video tool to use. I did a comparison of some various video tools, including Google Meet, Zoom, and Screencastify, Screencast-O-Matic, Flipgrid, a bunch of other ones. And I just kind of wanted to share that with you in case you were confused as to what or looking for ideas as to how you could use these tools in kind of different ways and why you would use one tool over another. iMovie and WeVideo are the other ones that I kind of went over. If that's hard to read, just click this button here and it opens up a bigger version for you. And then the last thing I have here is just a link to my Google Classroom for Parents post. I shared this last week, but I wanted to make sure that that everybody saw this. If your parents are asking you questions about what we're using Google Classroom for, or how they can access Google Classroom, this kind of explains it all and gives them easy to follow tutorials on what they need to know about Google Classroom. Also, next is a little ad for my Appy Hour. I've been having it on Fridays. I'm going to move it to Thursdays at 2 p.m. Just because I think that's a better time for some of us. So Thursday at 2 p.m. if you're interested if you've got some ideas that you want to share, or if you want to learn some new tips or tricks, or have a specific question that you need some help with, that's a great time for us to get together and figure it out. So Thursday at 2 p.m., just click on this box here and you'll be brought to a forum to give me some information, and then you'll get the joining link there. I hope you found that helpful. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. Lots of good stuff on there. And if you do have any questions or anything else that's not covered in this week's edition, let me know. Happy to help out at any time. All right. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Talk to you soon. Bye.